Hey guys, did you know that I have a Patreon where you can support me and plus get awesome rewards? Or if you're thinking to yourself, but Julian, I want even more bang for my buck while still supporting you, you can pop over to my Redbubble and check out my awesome store with new designs appearing regularly. But for now, enjoy the video you're about to watch. Hello, my darlings, it's me, Julian Greystoke, still in the living room. Yay! Today I'm wearing my Scar shirt, and you all know what that means. That's right, we're gonna tear another book apart, like the merciless assholes that we are. The book we are tearing apart today is called Mr. Tender's Girl. This book follows a woman whose father created a graphic novel character called Mr. Tender. He was a sort of villainous demon character who granted people's deepest desires, but also then took a great price from them. Apparently, this character became so ridiculously popular that eventually two girls tried to kill the main character to appease this Mr. Tender guy. And yes, if this is sounding incredibly familiar, it's because it is based upon the Slender Man attack that happened several years ago. I'll try to remember to link you to that in the doobly-doo in case you have no idea what's going on with that. But I'll be honest with you, that is what drew me to this book. So anyway, now the woman is fully grown and Mr. Tender is kind of coming back into her life. And she's finding herself investigating this and also dealing with some other sort of random problems in her life, including like gangs and drugs that may or may not be related to the Mr. Tender thing. So, yes, as I said, I picked this book up because I've been wanting to read more thrillers. I don't know if this counts as a thriller. I'm really not sure what constitutes a thriller, but of all the books that seem to have been thrillers that I've read recently, none of them were very thrilling. So I don't know. But Mr. Tender's Girl may have been a thriller, and that's why I picked it up, and also because I am fascinated by the culture of like these creepypastas. This didn't turn out to really be a creepypasta. And the culture of like these monsters that these girls would try to sacrifice a friend of theirs for. So yes, I was interested. Unfortunately, this book kind of let me down quite a bit in a number of exciting and interesting ways. Yay. If you are curious what a creepypasta is, it is a new urban legend. An urban legend created probably even by millennials on the internet. It's like an internet urban legend. One of the most famous ones is Been Drowned, which is a Zelda creepypasta. I have no idea why they're called creepypastas. Reading from the very scholarly source of Wikipedia, the history of Slender Man goes thusly. Slender Man was created on June 10th, 2009 on a thread in the Something Awful internet forum. The thread was a Photoshop contest in which users were challenged to create paranormal images. Forum user Eric I can't pronounce his last name, I'll put it on the screen, under the pseudonym Victor Surge, contributed 2 black and white images of children, to which he added a tall, thin, spectral figure wearing a black suit. Slender Man soon went viral, spawning numerous works of fan art cosplay on online fiction known as creepypasta. Stories told in short snatches of easily copyable text that spread from site to site. Divorced from its original creator, the Slender Man became a subject of myriad stories by multiple authors with an overarching mythos. Slender Man soon became his own creepypasta phenomenon and went from being scary to being apparently very kissable. I don't understand that whole culture. The character of Mr. Tender in this book did not turn out to be from the internet. He is from a series of graphic novels, which was the first thing that was a little bit disappointing to me. But we'll just get into it, shall we? The beginning of this book really didn't do much for me. It jumped around a lot. It really felt to me a bit like a fanfic, the way that some fanfic writers won't bother to give you information because they themselves don't care. So they're just like, and then she did this, and then this, and then this. Whatever. No transitions, no flow. It's just like ba-ba-ba. Events. It was entertaining to me that this book kept like hinting at what happened to this character in her past. Ooh, what happened? What was the violent thing that happened to so traumatize her? It's on the back of the book! It's on the blurb! Like, if you want this to be a big mystery in your book, don't give it away on the fucking blurb. So one thing I really didn't like about this book, it was kind of split into between two sort of past things that kind of intermesh, but don't really. After our main character was attacked as a young teen, she turned to drugs to deal with the PTSD of that entire situation. That's pretty understandable. And eventually she got into some very hard drugs and she got in with some very shady drug dealing type people. Now she's out of that life, but that life is still coming after her. And honestly, that was my least favorite of any of like the subplots. I hated that plot. It didn't seem connected to anything. It didn't seem like it needed to be there. It just seemed super random. It really seemed a lot like filler to me. Like the author was like, this book is going to be too short if we only do the Mr. Tender thing. So she's also got this drug thing where bad people from her past of drug use are going to come back. Yeah, sure, cool. No, why? I hate it. Then about halfway through this book, the story goes off the fucking rails. Shit just starts happening. Shit that doesn't even necessarily make a lot of sense. It's just like go, 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 and holy crap, and what the hell, and this makes no sense, but whatever. And then that is just done. And we go back to just sort of plodding along. And I was like, what? The pacing in this book, it's not great. In fact, one might go so far as to say that the pacing in this book is bad. At least to me. It was like, whoa, we're balls to the wall, off the rails, crazy times, and we're done. We're done with that. Back to your regularly scheduled program, people. Like I said, I'm disappointed that this wasn't a creepypasta. I was really interested to see what an author could do delving into that world, because there's a whole creepypasta culture out there. I don't know much about it, but it's mostly younger teens, and I just wanted to see like what an author could do with that. It's probably a good thing that this author didn't try it though, because all of the stuff that is computer related in this book definitely feels like it was written by a much older person who doesn't really know how computers or websites or the internet work. Again, this book just keeps bringing things up and then dropping them. She goes to visit the two girls who stabbed her, and you're like, okay, well, they're going to be a big part of this story now. And then they aren't. There's just like a scene with them, and they're gone. And she kind of visits the father of the girls. And it's... What is this book? What are you doing? The main character of this book has taken a lot of self-defense classes and a lot of martial arts classes. Again, because of her PTSD from being attacked, she just really never wants to feel like a victim again. And because of this, she has gotten this sort of kick their ass first and ask questions later mentality that I'm not sure that most martial artists would necessarily agree with. I don't know. I've never taken a martial art. But, you know, at least stereotypically it's all about don't fight until you have been attacked. But she's just like, I don't like how this is going. I'm just going to beat the shit out of you first, and then if you have any teeth left, maybe you can answer my questions when we're done. I don't know if I like this or not. It's kind of fun, but at the same time, it's like, does that really seem like if she trained with lots of martial artists, would she do that? Something I ran into a lot in this book is stuff that I have trouble with contemporary books in general. Be they thrillers, be they urban fantasy, something that I really have trouble with is the suspension of my disbelief. I'm usually pretty fine to suspend my disbelief in a sci-fi or a fantasy story, but if a book is set very firmly in our world, then my disbelief is a lot harder for me to suspend, and I don't know why. But I ran into this problem with this book. Again, it's that suspension of, why aren't they calling the police? Why didn't the police hear about this? Conveniently, there are no neighbors nearby to hear the gunshots. You know, it's a lot of convenience that has to happen in our world that it bothers me. So there's a character named Richard. I'm giving you little spoilers here. Richard is too good for this world, too pure. I'll just give you a one guess what happens to Richard's character. Did you guess? You probably guessed. And here's another spoiler. One of the villains of our story, there are multiple villains, one of which I did not see coming, but one of the villains I'm going to tell you about because she was really, I thought, a very damaging sort of villain character to be, and that is she is an evil, self-harming lesbian. And this book demonizes people who self-harm. This book demonizes a lesbian character. And I'm not saying lesbian characters can't be villains, but the way it was done, I felt was very like stereotypical, like she's evil because she wants you kind of a thing. and I didn't like it. I had a lot of problems with it. Fortunately, it was very near the end of the book when you find out who this character is, but And this book as a whole, I'm not sure why, while I could sometimes enjoy like the action scenes and while I could enjoy some of the reading, I never became immersed with this book. I always felt like I was watching it from a distance. Maybe that was the writing, maybe that was the pacing issues, maybe that was I just didn't fall in love with any of the characters, but whatever it was, it just sort of felt like I was observing it, like I was watching it on a TV screen across the room, and there was this great degree of separation between me and the book. And if I'm reading something that I want to be a thriller, I feel like I should feel very invested, like I should be in that world, and I should be worried, and I should be stressed. And that never happened in this book. There you go, those are my thoughts on Mr. Tender's Girl. Have any of you read it? Probably not, but if you have, comment below and let me know what you thought about it. And if you liked this book review, there are a ton more on my channel, so feel free to wander around, make yourself at home, and check stuff out. As always, you guys know that I post new videos Mondays and Fridays. All the links to my social media are in the doobly-doo for ease of your clicking. And if you liked what you saw here but you wish it was higher quality, I have a Patreon for that. All the support I get on Patreon goes towards getting me better equipment. And I will see all of you guys again next time with whatever it is I happen to be doing next time. Bye! Hey everybody, it is shout out time. Time for me to shout out to my amazing patrons, Kim, Sarah, and Sabby Panda. So if you want to be cool like these great people, then become my patron over on Patreon.